Welcome back to another episode of On the Fly. Today, we are not joined by any guests, but rather doing an episode between myself, Zach, and Yinka, where we are going to discuss our goals for 2023. And this kind of idea was spurred from listening to one of the episodes of the Bigger Pockets podcast, where David and Rob kind of went over their goals. I was like, this may be a good idea to do on our episode and kind of speak our goals into existence. So not only we can hold ourselves accountable, but all of you listeners as well can also hold us accountable. So before we get rolling into that, Yinka, I know that the semester is finally over, so I'm sure you're happy about that. Zach is finally back from the honeymoon, and life
hmm
is good there too. So how's your week going, guys?
Yeah, I mean, as you just mentioned, Sean, the school semester ended a little over a week ago. Been glad to be on break. I wouldn't even say it's a break as a whole. It's more of a break from school. I've been super busy, as you guys know, working on the business as well as doing some traveling here and there. And I just know winter break's going to go by like this. But yeah, no, just been glad to kind of be absent from the schoolwork and kind of get that break from school. So I've been doing pretty good.
Awesome. Good to hear, Yanka. Yeah, I'm doing well. I'm finally a married man, and so now Lindsay's moved in with me. We're organizing everything, getting all of her stuff set up, getting the place we're at actually looking like a home. There's now some pictures on the walls, whereas there wasn't when only I was living here. But all of Lindsay's cooking and organizing and everything she loves to do, she's phenomenal at. So she's making, as the funny saying goes, she's making the house a home. So she's doing a great job, and I couldn't be happier.
That's awesome, guys. I'm happy for both of you, and I'm happy that now you got plenty more time to focus on FLI and not worry about classwork and presentations and all that. And I would just say on my end too, it's life has been good. I thought it was going to slow down heading into winter, but it has not slowed down, both in my full-time job and in the detailing business. But we're just going to keep on keeping on. But so kind of what we're going to go over today is we're going to cover our goals for 2023. And now that's really going to be where each of us talk about the 5 to 7 biggest goals or number one things we're focusing on going into the new year. And as most of you know, goals tend to evolve as the year goes on. And in most cases, at least in my experience, they tend to evolve for better. And new focuses, new visions, new purposes come to light. And it allows us kind of to iterate our goals from there. So as we kick this off, I want to throw it over to Zach and have him start running through his list and commenting and giving a little bit of perspective about why these things are important and what the main motivation for these goals are.
Absolutely. Thanks, Sean. So I have a few goals, and then after that, I want to get into another various aspect of what I'm looking into next year. So starting off with goals, my biggest one is buy a house. Lindsay and I just got married, moved into a townhouse we're renting right now. Um, it would be awesome, not only financially, but to have a home that we own, right? So we can actually start punching holes in walls and doing things we really want to do, really customize it to ourselves. So we've been searching around kind of the Columbus, Ohio area. Obviously, the housing market has been pretty hot last couple months. It's slowing down a little bit now. So we have kept our eye on Realtor.com. We are searching far and wide for some houses in our price range that we like that are in good areas for commuting. So one of the goals is buy a house. Steps to accomplish that goal. Obviously, money is a big aspect of buying a house. So right now, Lindsay is between jobs because she quit the job to move down with me. So we have been focusing on our kind of side hustles, right? Amazon. We've been focusing on our Etsy and various things we're selling. And she will get back to work at some point. She's in no rush, and I'm not pushing her. I want her to find a position that she really likes and doesn't hate going to work every day. So we focus on Amazon, Etsy, other ways to make money so that we can accomplish our goal of buying a house. That leads into the next goal, which is sell. I had $15,000 in revenue on Amazon, right? So $15,000 is the number I picked there because that sells out of my current stock of what I've ordered so far that Amazon has in inventory. So $15,000 is a lot. Revenue in sales is $15,000. That's a much different number than profit. A general rule of thumb, which holds true for my product, which is a cold brew maker, is that you can typically expect to profit about a third or 30% of your sales. So a $15,000 sales number would profit me around $5,000. So while that's not a ton of money, that would be a great step in gaining popularity and reviews and building up this Amazon listing, brand, and product, so that hopefully over time it snowballs and we can turn that $15,000 number into a higher number. The steps to accomplish that goal, to hit that $15,000 sales mark, is increase advertising, running Amazon ads. We're doing Google ads, various things like that. Word of mouth marketing is a big one, and social media as well. So goal number 2, sell out of the product we have right now on Amazon. And my third and final goal for next year is be 3 places I've never been. So at the beginning of the year, we're heading to Las Vegas for a couple days. And then Italy is another one. I've always wanted to be out of the country and somewhere cool. Italy checks that box, and Lindsay has wanted to go there for her entire life. She has a cousin stationed in the Air Force out there, so we're going to make a point to go out there, visit some of her family while they are there, and see some of the Italian countryside and visit Europe. The third place, we don't know yet. So that's a third place we haven't been is still open to booking. Lindsay and I have been kind of exploring where we want to go, but we've had the travel bug lately, especially being on the honeymoon. We went to Mexico, and being out of the country for the first time, it was an all-inclusive. It was a blast. We saw a ton of things that we never have before, and it really made us want to experience more new things. So we've been watching a lot of travel YouTube and stuff like that. So again, accomplishing that goal, being 3 places we've never been, money is a lot of it too, right? So obviously, if you have money solves a lot of your problems. So working, saving money, budgeting, we've been cracking down on our budgeting. We got our travel credit card, our Chase Sapphire Reserve, right? So we're trying to get all our points and save every way we can, get our travel points and get some free flights, free hotel rooms, stuff like that. So that comes with celebrating your successes, right? That's a topic we've covered in previous podcasts. And that wraps up the third goal, which is be 3 places I've never been. I mentioned at the beginning that I want to talk about the goals and then get into life goals or your life purpose. And I was just talking with Lindsay before the podcast about this, and she brought up a good point to me when I was talking about what I thought was my life purpose. And she said, I think that's more of a life goal. And there's a difference there. And we got in the conversation of how life goals might be something you want for your life, where your life purpose is maybe what you're more put here to do. When I was talking about what turned out to be, I think, is my life goal, that is to be a good husband, eventually a good father, and a good friend. Those are the things I want to do in my life. My life purpose, what I'm put here to do, shortly put in summary, is to provide. And there's a lot of levels down from there. So whether that's providing for friends or for Lindsay or for my general peers, just people that I meet, people that we might meet through FLI that reach out to us, right? So providing for friends might be something like providing stability, friendship, and support when they need it. If you're talking about providing for my beautiful wife, Lindsay, maybe that's safety, love, or providing monetarily, right? Again, this ties back into the 3 goals I have for 2023. When you're thinking about your goals, especially ones that break down as far as daily and then weekly, monthly, and maybe you get into yearly, a 5-year, 10-year plan, you want to start from the top down. This is another thing I was talking to Lindsay about. If you can find what your goal is, overarchingly, maybe 5, 10 years, or your life goal, things you really want to do, you can then break that down and figure out, okay, I need to do this, maybe every year, every month, every week, and every day. It's a lot easier to break down what you want to do tomorrow, what your goal should be tomorrow, to help you achieve what you want to later in life. So breaking down your goals from the top is a very good strategy, I think, to help you achieve or know what you want to do daily, weekly, monthly. Anyway, I was talking about my life purpose, which is to provide. And I was talking about how it's different for friends, maybe your wife, your family, and for FLI, how it relates to FLI is providing things that I've learned right? Things that I have experienced and gained knowledge in just through the experience I've had in life, right? So if I'm providing to an FAC member, right? If I'm a financial accountability coach and they want to come talk about Amazon FBA, I have experienced Amazon FBA, and I think my life purpose is to provide. So if I can provide that person with info on how to maybe skip a couple of days of an issue that I went through, and I can save them some time, I'm helping them, right? So that all ties into my life purpose, I think, which is to provide. I wholly believe that people are what makes life worth living. This is like a kind of a bigger picture existential branch that I was thinking about as well. Most people don't lie on their deathbed and talk or think about or say to the people around them, man, I wish I worked more, right? Now, you want to work during your life and set yourself up for a successful life. But when you're on your deathbed and when you're in moments that matter, you think about the people that are around you, right? And so I want to live my life so that I'm not disappointed with how I have lived. The people and experiences that you make during life are really what matter. That was another little branch that I was just thinking about as I got into the big existential life goals and life purpose. But in summary, life goals and life purpose are different. Life goals are what you want, and what I want in life is to be a good husband, eventually a good father, and a good friend. My life purpose, what I'm here to do, is to provide. And I think being able to summarize something as large as your life purpose is in something as small as 2 words actually took me a little bit. It took me a bunch of time talking with Lindsay, and she's really good at helping me with that stuff. So in summary, 3 goals for 2023 for me: buy a house, be 3 places I've never been, clear out my Amazon inventory, sell 15K worth of sales. My life goal is to be a good husband, eventually a good father, and a good friend. My life purpose, what I'm here to do, is to provide. And that wraps up my goals for 2023, my life purpose, and my life goal.
Absolutely. Great, Zach, and great explanation about all of that. And I think too, you touched on your life purpose to provide. And I think even going a step further, provide value is like another key component to that too. But phenomenal. I have no doubts whatsoever that you're going to be able to achieve that and that you'll smash those goals with flying colors. So great job, Zach. And then I'll kick it over for myself and I'll run through mine real quick. So I kind of broke mine down into, I believe I have 6 of them here. So I like to break my goals down into financial, family, mental, physical, my W-2 job, my luxury auto detailing business, real estate, and then Financial Literacy Institute. So I like to kind of categorize them out so I can see them all separately versus like a list of 25, 30 goals. So I want to start with my number 1 goal financial wise is to double my income from this year. So going from all of my sources of income from my W-2 to real estate to detailing to any other sources that I can dream up over the next year. I want to take whatever my total W-2 income is or total tax return income, and I want to double it for next year. And the way I'm going to do that is I have to work much harder, make more commission at my full-time job. I have to develop luxury auto detailing and scale that to where I can gain more profit, to where I can reduce expenses and get that automated to a point to where it's also not taking up so much of my time. And then on the real estate side of things, I need to buy more properties. I need to generate more cash flow. I need to trim down my expenses on that route. And then also with FLI, one of our big goals as a group, but even tying into like a personal goal, is the generation of revenue here. And that ties into doing more speaking events, doing more events, coaching more people, helping more people. But that's something that's even more of a longer term goal. So kind of in summary of that, doubling my income is something that will pull from 5 or 6, even 7 different areas where I can generate income. So my second goal on the mental side is I want to read 12 books this year. I've had this goal on my list for the past 3 years, and I have not checked it off in any of the past 3 years. Every time I start, I'm kind of a slow reader too. And I know like I've been holding back from listening to books because I listen to podcasts, but I know at some point I'm going to do that. And it's going to become the way that I actually read books. But it's something about picking up a book and just reading it and flipping the pages that makes me feel like a sense of accomplishment. And I just need to be more determined and more focused to actually read through those books quickly and not skip a night when it's 11:30 and I'm tired and I want to go to bed. I need to read for 10, 15 minutes so I can get those 12 books done. So I think this year I finished at like 7 or 8. So it's not too far off, but I need to do better on that. One of my big goals for luxury auto detailing is to either buy or rent a permanent location. And what that looks like is finding somewhere that's central to the majority of my customers, that's in a safe area, that has the amenities that I need, and that allows for growth of employees and bringing in more new customers, adding more different types of services. And the way that I can get there is also financially related to how much income I make as a whole, but also how much income the business can generate so that it can offset those added expenses. So obviously, when you add more capacity, whether it's through people, through its location, you have to find ways to afford that. And the affording that is the big challenge that I'm fighting right now. And it's almost going to be a leap of faith to where I have to say, you know what, I'm just going to jump in and do it and figure it out or build the parachute on the way down. So rolling into one or my real estate goal for, I guess, a goal that I set for myself 2 years ago when I bought my first property was that I wanted to buy one property a year for the next 5 years. So in 5 years, by the time I was 27, I'd have 5 properties under my belt. Well, this year I ended up buying two, so it kind of scaled it up a little bit further. So for 2023, I want to buy one residential, but also one commercial property. And I currently don't own anything in the commercial space, but I want to break into that. And I have a few properties in mind and a few people I've been talking to that could allow me to do that. And then the residential side, just keep using the same formula that I have been using here in Akron to buy houses in an average area, but that offer good rent potential, good renovation potential, value add, so that I can increase the value of the property, but also provide a nice residence for someone here in Akron, Ohio to live. And in along with that, making the community better by improving land, improving real estate, and giving people something to be proud of. So with that, the big aspect there is also funding and ties back into financial. I need to make more money. I need to find creative ways to finance properties. And that's something that we've talked about on previous episodes too, like with Todd Baldwin, where he's found creative ways to generate income, whether it's through house hacking, whether it's through wholesaling, or even just creative financing. So that's a big aspect of real estate that I need to tap into because most of my properties and projects have been through conventional financing. So, along with that, it'll be a major year of learning on the real estate side of things to figure out how I can scale into bigger and better deals and still have fun doing it along the way. And I don't know if I'll ever take the jump into doing real estate full time, but who knows where life will take me. And then lastly, my big goal for the Financial Literacy Institute is to complete a podcast studio in person so that we can record our podcast episodes not on Zoom, not on Microsoft Teams, but in person with cameras, microphones, and a more cohesive feel to be able to record an episode and have our guests join us in person. So that's something big I've been scheming up in the background for the past couple months. I have a few things in the work that I haven't even told you guys about yet that'll be really cool. But that's going to be a big goal for 2023, and I can't wait to host our first episode in person because I feel like it'll add so even more value than we can add already by allowing us just to have that genuine in-person type conversation that you can't always have when it's over, recording on Microsoft Teams. But kind of diving into a little bit what Zach talked about in terms of life purpose and vision for the future. And I think the first time that this came into my mind was when I read Simon Sinek's book, Start With Why. And it helped me look at things like Zach talked about, the difference between life goals and life purpose. And life goals can be something that the type of person you want to be, but I think purpose ties into what you want your legacy to be. And the biggest phrase that I've come up with and kind of thought about for the past couple years now is my purpose in life is to create a financially stable and financially free future for myself and my family. And it really ties into things that are important in my life, both in stuff that I enjoy and I enjoy making money, I enjoy working, but also in the future of family, where I want to be able to spend time with my kids, spend time with my wife, and say if I want to leave on a Tuesday to fly to California and sit on a beach, I can do whatever I want when I want. So I think that's the big underlying reason behind my purpose. So it's kind of twofold in terms of doing whatever I want when I want, but also creating a life of stability for my future family. So really, I guess to recap what I just talked about, in terms of financial goals, I'm looking to double my gross income or my gross taxable income. I want to read, or I will read 12 books or one book a month. I need to buy or rent a permanent location for luxury auto detailing. And then I need to buy one commercial and then one residential property. And lastly, put a podcast studio in person together so that we can record our episodes. So I would say that's the biggest things that I'm focusing on for 2023.
I love it. No, that's solid, and I appreciate we're talking about all this because again, it's gonna not only keep each other accountable, but also again our listeners for them to reach out, keep us accountable. Maybe perhaps they become our our FAC clients, but then also as well, hey, as our clients, hey, Zach, Sean, I remember you guys talked about this on the podcast. Are you working on that? Oh, hey, I appreciate that accountability aspect, right? So no, I very much appreciate we're talking about this. I'm looking forward to seeing, especially that in-person podcast too, because that's something we've been talking about. We've been in the works on for a while, so I'm excited about that. So I appreciate that, Sean. In terms of mine, I also have 6 and I have my purpose. So I like to have my first one is my primary one, and then the remaining 5 are by no means in a certain order. These are just how I have them. But just like Sean as well, I have, again, the first one is the most important one to me for 2023. It's my spiritual, and the remaining 5 are emotional, physical, financial, FLI, as well as full-time. So I'll talk about that. I'll break those down. So spiritual, I have this kind of in the, not the full scheme of the SMART goal, but especially in the S. So specific, it's relatively specific, all these, but then I don't go into the MARNT. But in terms of my spiritual, my S would be specific. It says, I want to fully read and fill out the book titled 30 Days to Understanding the Bible. And then now read after that the Bible, the English Standard Version of the Bible, to form a solid relationship with God. That's something that I feel like for me, I really want to embark on that journey. I know I can find a lot of my identity and my morals in that, and I'm very much excited to form that more solid relationship. I know you guys probably are knowing that I actually just recently came back from the Standard end of year conference, and there's so many conversations, in the finance and in the business and all these kinds of things. But the big nugget that I really wanted to tap into was to ask guys there who are very much spiritually grounded, how can I become not necessarily like you guys, but how can I understand more of my faith? That's something that I think for me growing up, by no means was I lost out of my faith, but as I grew up and as my parents got busier, we just naturally stopped going to church, less and less and less. But I understand that, religion, there's so much more like grounding and reasoning and identity found in religion. And for me, like I want to embark on that journey. And for those who I know who are on that journey and have, opened up and blossomed in that area, they're very much, they understand who they are. They understand that God loves them and all these kinds of things. That's something that I very much want to embark on in 2023. But it starts with, building a better relationship with God. So again, reading the word, understanding even the reasoning behind the word, praying more, and just building that more solid relationship. So that's something that I very much want to embark on in 2023. But again, understanding 30 Days to Understanding the Bible, that book I was actually put onto at this end of year conference by one of Hafiz's friends, Zach Richardson, shout out to him. He just really plugged me with that and really tapping into that book. I'm super excited. So that's the biggest thing for me is spirituality in 2023. Number two, again, all the rest of these now are not in any order. Number two is emotional. So I say that I want to tap more into my mentor, Javon Langford, for some therapy sessions. And I would love to actually have him on the podcast. I actually just talked to him a couple of days ago, and I let him know, I'm like, Javon, we'd love to have you on the podcast. Awesome guy. He's big into the male masculinity space and understanding mental health and guiding young men and mentoring young men. And he's been my mentor for, I think, almost a year now. I think we started becoming mentor, mentees, having that relationship, I think last year, December. So, I've been talking to him for a while, and I'd love to have him on the podcast. But he just the way that he talks and the way he can just help you, through your process. But like every word he drops, every word he says, it's with intention, it's with purpose, right? And he makes you think in some very interesting ways. I know I want to tap in more with him. I know actually Tyrone as well. I introduced Tyrone to Javon, and they've been forming a really good relationship as well. Now, they're mentees and mentors. They have that relationship as well. But from what I've been hearing about, how they've been talking, I'm like, wow, like that's really good, right? So I want to tap in more with him, kind of get some more of that emotional groundedness as well. So that's one of my things in 2023 I'm excited to tap in with. And again, I would love to have him on the podcast. So shout out to him, and hopefully you guys will be able to see him here on the pod pretty soon. Physical, I might have said this before on a previous pod, but I've actually increased the weight for 2023. So I want to achieve a weight of 175 pounds, but still remain that 10% body fat composition. It's interesting. I think before I said 165, so I added 10 pounds. And where I'm currently at, I'm actually currently at 162. So I'm 3 pounds off. I didn't fully hit that goal. Like I said, 3 pounds off, but I'm actually at 10%, or I guess you could say like maybe 10.3, whatever, percent body fat composition. So I want to remain that, but build more muscle, which again, that would be 10 pounds or more muscle. If I can do that in 2023, that'd be awesome. But as people know, it's a little harder to build muscle than it is to lose fat. So I'm going to be trying to do a lot of that and focus on, eating more. I think that's for me. I've always been not necessarily skinny, but a little more like slimmer. So I got to be eating more and being able to, withstand more food into my body. So obviously that requires more meal prepping on my side and more, diligency with planning my meals and whatnot. So I'm going to be doing a lot of that. So that's one thing I want to work on in 2023 is achieving a weight of 175 pounds while again retaining that 10% body fat composition. In terms of financial, again, that's probably what everybody wants to hear since we're on the Financial Literacy Institute podcast. For me, as a lot of our listeners know, as you guys know as well, I'm actually like a student until I graduate in May. So I'm not making that big boy money just yet. But I'm excited because when May comes around and I get that full-time job, right, I will be making that big boy money. So for me, starting in May and having the rest of the month to go through that, or rest of the year, what I really want to do, and I'm excited, obviously having all this financial knowledge and be able to manage even the little money that I have before I start making the big money. This is why I like telling people, it's like, guys, if you can manage $100 now at this small scale, you can start to begin to manage, or even have the understanding to manage $100,000 when you start making it, right? So for me, I always think about this, and I get excited when I say this. I'm like, golly, like let me start making big boy money, and the plays I'm going to be making, surreal. So one of the big things that I want to, achieve by the end of 2023 is across the board, it's as simple as I want to acquire a $50,000 net worth by the end of 2023, right? Because for me, which is really cool. Like I'm waiting on, and it's fine if it doesn't happen, because who's to know if it happens now? But Papa Joe coming in with that student loan debt forgiveness. I mean, if that doesn't happen, then I already have like plan C, D, and E like in place to wipe off that debt. But also as well, if you guys are familiar with the Engineering Trajectory Award that the University of Akron awards 10 engineers, I'm in line to get that. So I'm super glad about that. That knocks off $10,000 student debt, loan debt. But assuming that those two things come into play, I'll actually be graduating debt free, which is super cool. But then again, start making money around May time, that big boy money, and obviously already having the assets that I currently have. I want to have that $50,000 net worth wherever it is, whether it's Roth IRA, whether it's general investing account, whether it's real estate, doesn't matter, across the board net worth of $50K by the end of 2023. So that's kind of my simple but yet big goal for financial. So I'm super excited to get that full-time job, start making that full-time money to acquire that net worth. In terms of FLI, I said that I want to have earned over 25 quality testimonies / reviews from our services like FAC, as well as our future services. I think for me, as you guys might have known, like I'm very much am enjoying this financial accountability coaching program. working with their clients. I actually just had an amazing conversation with one of our clients there, amazing session, I should say. And really what I'm hearing from, what I'm seeing on our surveys, because we like to send out surveys every time after our sessions, just to gauge, how well we're doing, how well we can improve our services for our clients. Because again, we really do care. But just realizing like I want to, over deliver. Like I love, providing more value to our clients than they're that they're paying for, and I think that gives them the sense that we do care, which is true, we do care, right? So what's really cool is that I would love to just give more of that value, just provide, just give, and that will in return give us proper and quality testimonies and reviews, like wow, these guys do care, which just gives more message than what we can give, right? Because as a business, people can say, oh well, you guys are business, obviously you guys are going to say that your services are good. Sure, go look at our reviews and testimonies. You can hear from other people. They will vouch for us. They will say, you can hear from the horse's mouth how we are, right? And they'll tell it straight, whether it's good or whether it's not, right? But one of my goals is to earn over 25 quality testimonies or reviews. So that's on me to provide that kind of quality, so that again, the horse, quote unquote, our clients can profess that. So I'm super excited to continue working on FAC, as well as any other future services, like it's our tools online, or it's our courses in the future, it's our podcast, like whatever that means. I want to provide more so we can get more of those quality reviews and testimonies. So that's one thing for 2023 as well. And in terms of full-time, again, I already alluded to this, but in terms of getting that full-time job, I might have talked about this on the podcast before, right? I very much realized that even though I'm studying biomedical engineering, my mind and my future isn't necessarily in biomedical, nonetheless engineering. So I can definitely see myself going into things that actually capitalize on my strengths, right? So my actual goal, it says I want to have an occupation that I can fully get behind, enjoy, and that works on my strengths. And I give two examples. I say sales and financial advising, right? And the reason I say that is I very much realized, at least this last semester, that I'm very much, I've known that I've been a people person, but like, hold on a second, there's clinical sales, there's, there's you can become a salesperson in this biomedical engineering space, right? And I'm like, wow, going to more Fisher Institute meetings, being part of SSE now, Society of Sales Engineers, right? Being around you guys, it's just like, I can see myself in that sales space, and there is space for me in that space. So looking more and applying to more jobs in that space as well. On top of talking to a couple guys in the standard at the end of year conference, it's like there are opportunities at places like Fidelity, Vanguard, Charles Schwab, obviously the name goes on, Northwestern Mutual, like there's so many, right? In terms of maybe being financial advisor, obviously this is a passion of mine. I can enjoy it, obviously take it to the next level. I've been talking to a couple of guys, and they're saying like, you can start out with getting your SIE, right? And then after that, Series 7, Series 66, right? And I'm learning more of these terms and learning more of this lingo, and obviously taking this kind of information to the next level, to more of that professional level. I wouldn't mind that, but it doesn't matter sales, financial advising. Really, at the end of the day, the actual goal talked about having an occupation that I can fully get behind, enjoy, and works on my strengths, right? And the reason I say that is I've talked about this in my past. Again, this is not knocking any of the companies that I work for, but let's say some of my engineering co-ops, I just realized I'm not that person that can that fully enjoys being in SolidWorks all day, or working on Minitab or Excel, or all in the lab doing tests. Like, I am a people person. I am a person that loves finances. I'm a person that loves, sales and marketing. Like those are my strengths, right? So even though I studied X, I might want to go into Y in terms of, career path. And by no means am I restricted to just X. So I'm talking to people, leveraging networks and whatnot to kind of see if I can go and embark on Y. That's kind of my thing in terms of full-time, because I know when I can fully get behind, again, going back to goal, when I can fully get behind my work, and as if I was a consumer to buy whatever product or service that I'm actually, working on, would I buy that, right? I fully believe that if I can actually fully, buy into the product that I'm serving, or servicing, then it's like, okay, I can get behind this and do this every day. That's why with FLI and this FAC program, like the way that I know that I'm conveying what I'm doing or what we're doing with these services, if I was not on the FLI team and I was a client, I would buy into this because I know what we're doing and I get behind it, right? So taking that to the full-time level, I would love to, wake up every day and not like, oh, I'm going to my 9 to 5. No, I want to enjoy that. I want to enjoy the product, or enjoy the project, product, service, whatever that I'm doing. So that's kind of the big thing, because again, that's kind of something I've been worrying about probably the last 2 years. Is like, oh, the co-ops, like, is this what full life is, or full-time is in real life? And it's like, no, there's more than what meets the eye here. So those, again, at a high level, are my 6 goals: again, spiritual, emotional, physical, financial, FLI, and full-time. And then now in terms of purpose, right? I think for me, I wouldn't say it's general, but it's very much tailored to me. As you guys know, like, I'll read it verbatim. It says, to be a holistic masculine man who is also a utilitarian to his community, right? And the reason I say that, I'll kind of break that down, right? Because there's two sections there. To be a holistic masculine man, but then also who's a utilitarian to his community. So that holistic masculine man, again, even how my goals are set up, I like talking about that spiritual, emotional, physical, and financial, because I think those four pillars are very holistic. It's not just financial, it's not just physical, it's not just spiritual, and it's not just emotional. It's all of these four, right? It's encompassing. And I think the more well-rounded, the more I can be able to, actually be a utilitarian to community, whether it is the financial area of FLI, whether it is the, spiritual to, people who are trying to get into that space. Again, that's one of my big things in 2023, whether it is physical and plugging people with my my gym regimen, or my diet, my meal plan regimen, whatever, like whatever I can be more encompassing within. Again, not necessarily being a jack of all trades and a master of none, no, but being a jack of four trades, right? And being master of those four trades. And if that makes any sense at all. But to be that kind of holistic man, but then also I love giving back. I love serving. I think that's my thing. Again, going back to the spiritual, whatever my gift is, instead of just keeping it to myself, I love serving. That's why I'm on FLI. Like, this is a gift that I know I just have a passion for finance. I have a knack for finance. Doing stuff like this with FLI, I want to serve. I want to give. I talk, when I hop on these consultation calls, I love talking to people. I'm like, guys, this is what I do. Like, hop on these calls with me. This is what I enjoy doing, right? I want to serve. I want to give. So that's something for me that I can define as my purpose, as being a holistic man, but also being a utilitarian, being able to serve to his community. So again, that's kind of me in a nutshell for 2023, and I'm excited for you guys to keep me accountable in those areas, and likewise for me onto you guys.
I love that. Great goal, Jinka. And I like how you explained your purpose there too, and the different aspects of that. So thank you for sharing that with not only us, but the audience as well. And it's crazy to think about that, 2022's over at this point.
Yeah.
Like, we started FLI January of 2022, and we're almost at our 1-year anniversary. And if you would have told me we'd be where we're at right now a year ago, I probably would have laughed. And I mean, it's a testament to both of you, the progress that we've made this year, and the goals we've been able to crush, the people we've been able to help, and the people we've met, both in person and on the podcast episode. So I appreciate both of you so much. I thank you for the work that you guys have put in, and I'm so excited to see where FLI goes in 2023. And on January 1st, when we're reviewing our EOS steps and goals for the next year, I have no doubt that we're going to kill it, both in the FLI realm and in the personal realm. And one last thing too, before we end the episode here, I want to ask all of us to give one piece of advice for ourselves at this point next year. So Zach, if you want to start.
Yeah, for sure. It's unique. Normally people, asking, if you could give your younger self advice, what would you say? But you're saying, give your older self advice. So, I think a piece of advice for myself would be to be content with where I'm at, but not stagnant, right? Sometimes with all of the goals I have, with my whiteboard, with everything I'm trying to accomplish day to day, I allow myself to get too stressed out day to day with what I want to do and the lack of immediate progress I'm seeing, right? I do want to stop and smell the roses a little bit. And I think that's good advice for anyone, including myself in the future. Don't be stagnant, but be happy with where you're at, right? Don't lose a drive, and don't stop progressing and stop making effort. But don't be frustrated if you don't see immediate progress. Just like anything, like the stock market, like school. I mean, you're going to go down. You're going to get worse sometimes before you get better. So I think be happy, be content, but don't be stagnant is the advice that I'd give.
Yeah, no, that's good. I like that. And yeah, and I even just want to fully understand. So you're saying, Sean, what's some advice that we would get as we look back at this, right, in next year? Or are you saying that next year, like 2024, and we're looking at this at the end of 2023? Oh, what did we say for 2023? Is that kind of like what the question is?
I more so along the lines of, when we're at this point in 2023 doing our end of the year episode, what advice would you give now to that future self?
Mm-hmm. Yinka, how people are like, what would you give your younger self? Give your older self
Kind of like,
some
yeah,
advice.
kind of like some time capsule type thing, right?
Yeah.
Okay. No, that's awesome. I absolutely like that. This is good. This is good. This is good. So looking back at this, and obviously we're gonna hit all these goals, we're gonna crush them. Like that's just the kind of people that we are, which is awesome. I'm gonna say that, Inka, when you're listening to this, hopefully you're enjoying what you're doing. Because I think that's something that, you know, I've always kind of struggled with in my head. It's like, should I be doing things because people told me to do things, or should I be doing things because school told me or society told me? It's like I realized even this last like half of the year that I'm doing more things that Yinka enjoys, and I'm taking more control of what Yinka wants to take control of, right? And I've told you this, to so many people. I've told you guys this so many times. Like I'm just viewing life as a game now. Now again, not being reckless. That's not the kind of person I am. But I'm taking more control of my life, and that sounds like cliche because people can just say that. But like I am very much prioritizing different things over other things because I am taking more control of my life. So I guess advice is when you're hearing this again, I'm looking at you right in the camera. Hopefully you're doing what you enjoy, and I know that you will be. And if not, make that change because that's what truly matters, my guy. So that's my advice.
I love that. Excellent, excellent advice for yourself and for all of our listeners too. And I think my advice to my future self is take some time to smell the roses and take in the precious moments of life. And something that kind of sticks in my head is the one quote from The Office where he talks about, I wish we would have known we were in the best times of our lives when we were in them. And I think we always, and I probably butchered that, but I think, when you're trying to accomplish goals and you're trying to scale up and hustle, a lot of times we gloss over, some great moments in our lives because we're chasing or we're trying to push for that next great thing. So I want to challenge myself to take a little bit of time and just like take a deep breath, relax, and like enjoy the precious moments of life because we never know, the last time that we're going to get to do something and the last time we're going to get to see someone. So like it's just it puts it in perspective because life is a fleeting thing and you never know when the last time that you're going to get to experience something. So you might as well make the most of it. So, not to get all philosophical and all emotional about it, but just take a deep breath and smell the roses.
Mhm. I love that. That couldn't be real. That couldn't be further from the, or couldn't be closer to the truth, I should say. So no, I'm excited when we all can look because again, that time capsule thing, when we can all look back at this or listen to this, and you're like, oh, like you like that smelling the roses. It's like, you know what, 2023, I did smell the roses, or 2023, I didn't as much, but 2024, yeah, I need to now. You know what I'm saying? Like whatever that check-in is, it's good to have that kind of advice for the future. So I like that question, Sean. I appreciate that.
Absolutely. Yeah. And thank you guys for going over your goals for 2023. I look forward to doing this again next year and seeing where we're at and seeing what we accomplished and seeing how we can make them that much better. So, with that, this has been another episode of On the Fly, and we hope everyone has a safe and happy new year. And we look forward to joining you in 2023. Have a great night.